Hey guys, AJ here, back with another one. I think this whole week is going to be about family court. And the reason why I want to talk about that is I'm to the age now to where I have a lot of friends that have been through the family court system. They've either been married and divorced, or they met a woman and had children outside of marriage. And either way, they've had a custody battle, or they've had some type of family court situation. I think that it's interesting that the men that I talk to, that I know who've been through the system, have all this knowledge that the men who I know who haven't been through it don't know. And I think that this is knowledge that all men should know, because everyone has the potential to end up in some type of family court, married, engaged, etc. So people ought to know this information. So this first video is by the lead attorney. Shout out to the lead attorney. He's a really good resource for family court, paternity court, etc. All that type of information. So go and subscribe to his channel. And he has a lot of really cool engagement with his subscribers and etc. And he's just a really, really positive force for men. And then for a lot of women also who have men in their lives who are going through this. So let's just jump into the video, and we're not gonna watch the whole thing, but there's a couple of parts that I think are really, really interesting. So let's get into it.
You may be a young man on the verge of making some of these same decisions yourself. Maybe you have a girlfriend, maybe you're engaged, maybe you have a baby on the way. You need to watch all of this video. You will not get this information anywhere else. Also, yes, I make videos based on what my subscribers say. So comment down below if you're in a tough situation, be that with your marriage or your children or child support.
Let's stop real quick. When you do subscribe to the lead attorney, go in the comments, you guys, and you'll read some pretty crazy stories and some of the discussions that are really sad when you hear about what some of these guys are going through. And there are even comments from mothers whose sons are going through this stuff too, and it's just really sad. And then there's also stories that have happy endings too. They're rare, but it is what it is. Let's get back into it.
Or with your divorce in general. Now, what is our subscriber's situation? He's a doctor working hard with 50-50 custody of his kids. He has 4 of them. He's paying a lot of child support. Meanwhile, his ex-wife is living in her parents' basement, is paying no expenses, and she's receiving both child support and alimony. But
now let's stop here real fast. For those of you who don't know what alimony is, so alimony is basically spousal support, where if you're the breadwinner, which the majority of men are in this country still, and you make a lot more money or more money than your wife, when you get divorced, you have to pay spousal support or alimony. In Washington State, where I'm from originally, you have to, for every 2 days that you're married, you owe 1 day of alimony. And if you're married for more than 10 years, you have to pay alimony for the rest of your life or until your ex-spouse gets remarried. So if you're married to a woman and you are married for 11 years, you owe her alimony until she gets remarried, but she can live in her house with her new boyfriend all she wants and not get married, and you still got to pay alimony. So be careful out there, gentlemen.
But the alimony is about to end. Because of that, the ex-wife now wants to increase the child support. She is basically leeching off of him. He wrote a comment in one of my videos. The part of the comment that we're going to focus on today reads as follows. The system will encourage a loser to marry a hard worker so she can sit at home and collect checks from a man that works day and night to make ends meet. Is there a way to persuade the judge that she's a deadbeat mom? Or does this just apply to men? Now listen, those are great questions. Let's take a look at them. Let me quickly thank the powerful Bennett, LaTanya Harris, David Trickett, of all of their support. Also, I want to thank the people. I'm really excited for you guys. I have so many things that I want to tell you. Now, let's get to this question. Our subscriber says that the system will encourage a loser to marry a hard worker so she can sit at home and collect checks from a man that works day and night to make ends meet. Now, let's take a step back. Let's ask ourselves a fundamental question. Why is our subscriber in this situation? He has 4 kids and 50-50 custody, but he says he's bouncing rent checks while his ex-wife is living with her mother and is not working. So she's mooching off of him. What did he do to end up in this situation? Well, let me tell you what he did. Let me tell you what all men who are about to deal with marriage or parenting need to hear. What is the focus of family law?
Before he jumps into that, I hope you guys caught that this guy has 50-50 custody with his ex. So you would think that 50-50 means he has the kids 50% of the time, she has the kids 50% of the time. So why is he paying child support, right? That's not how the system works. And he's going to get into it a little bit more.
The main focus is on tradition. Yes, tradition. Now, what do I mean by that? How does it work? Does tradition operate against men or women, or is it just against the men? The answer is that tradition hits both genders. Stick to the end of the video to hear how it screws women. But make no mistake, that tradition usually hits men much harder.
Facts. Absolute facts. It does hit men a lot harder, and there are people who are activists and advocates that always try and argue about, oh, well, the women, well, that, yes, but the men always get hit harder. Let's get back into it.
Guys, listen up. Let me tell you something about tradition. There are two types of tradition. I'm going to call the first type a general tradition. General tradition is usually what happens in our society. What roles do men and women generally play with regards to parenting, with regards to supporting the children, with regards to property? This is the main part where the unfairness comes in. And the second type of tradition is specific tradition. Specific tradition usually happens in your home. What role do you specifically play with your children, with your wife? Let's analyze how this works. Let's take a look at a hypothetical.
We're going to jump ahead just a little bit to the hypothetical part.
You swipe left, reject. Oh, every law school in the nation. So let me show you what one looks like. Say you're our subscriber, the doctor. Say you're in residency school. You don't have much money right now and you don't have much time, but you're single and you want to see what's out there. So you're on one of these dating apps, these swiping apps to see what's up. Now you see a woman. Her profile says that she has a master's degree and she owns her own home and she owns a little business, but she's average looking, which should be okay because you're average looking yourself.
That's hilarious. I like him.
But you don't want average. Nope. So you swipe left, reject. Oh, but the next profile. You see a beautiful little chica working down at the goddamn Foot Locker. Her profile says that she's completed high school, but you don't care about that. Guys don't care about a woman's education, right? That's what you hear. We don't care about a woman's advanced degrees. Nope. We don't care about a woman's businesses. Nope. We care about how you look, right? So you see this nice little thing and you're all running. And I get it, I don't blame you. You guys go out on the first date. She likes the fact that you're in residency school and it's all good. One thing leads to another and now you're a couple. One thing leads to another and now she's pregnant.
And now she's pregnant. Yep. Be careful, guys. So this is how it always goes. That's why you always got to bring your own condoms, take care of yourself, and do your due diligence.
You like her, she likes you, so she tells you to marry her. And you say, why not? Now you got a little baby boy and she's like, hey, I don't really want to go back down to the Foot Locker. You know that the cost of what you would pay in daycare is about the same as she would earn anyways. So you just tell her to chill out at home and watch the kid.
Facts. That happens quite a bit where there's a lot of well-earning men, and what'll happen is that their wives will have these, they're a secretary or they're working at the Gap or whatever. And when you have a kid, childcare, especially even where I am now, can be over $2,000 a month. And you figure if your wife is working retail or working somewhere else, that's an equivalent, that her pay after taxes, all the money that she's going to go work for is going to go to daycare. So that's when they end up staying home.
You've got it, right? You're going to be a doctor. Then you come home one day and she tells you that she's pregnant again. Now, let's be honest, you don't really want another kid, but you're going to be a doctor, you can afford it. And let's be honest, now that she's pregnant, it's not like you have a choice anyways.
Absolute facts. And that was the video that I had made previously about how men don't have any options when it comes to pregnancy. And this just kind of backs up what I said there. let's get back into it.
And now, after the birth of your second child, she's definitely not going back to the Foot Locker. Now that's a scenario. What have you done? You'll say, what do you mean? I'm just living, and I'm living good. I'm a relatively young doctor. I got a beautiful wife. I've got these kids. You're on number 3 now, by the way. Congratulations. So you tell me it's all good, lead attorney. Well, I know it's all good, but my question was, what have you done? I'll tell you what you've done. You set up a tradition. You have 3 kids that you support. You have taken a woman who had mediocre value in the labor market, high school, Foot Locker, and you have pulled her out of the labor force and have kept her out for years, which has really decreased even further her value as an employee.
Absolutely. And this is what he's going to continue on is, they say the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and it's absolutely true. You took a woman who has 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 hands, 2 feet, and then now she doesn't work. But now you're responsible for her, and that's what's going to set up you having to be responsible for her moving forward. Let's get into it.
Remember way back when you were in residency, you only had to take care of yourself. Now fast forward 11 years and you've created a situation where you have to take care of 4 additional people, 3 kids and a wife, in a nice house, by the way, and you're paying for all of it. Now here's one of the fundamental truths about family law and family law judges. What these judges want in all cases is stability. Stability. They want the status quo. You want a judge to go out on a limb for you? Good luck. These family law judges want to keep following the tradition that society and that you have established. So I have a question for you. When your wife files for divorce against you, oh yeah, because 70 to 80% of all divorces are filed by women, how do you think
and if she's college educated, it's 90%. So basically, men initiate marriage 100% of the time, and women initiate divorce 80% of the time, 70 to 80% of the time, and 90% of the time if they're college educated. Let's just kind of think about that for a second. We're only going to watch a little bit more of this part, and then we're going to jump ahead to the actual paternity part or the custody part, because that's a big deal. And he sums it up really, really nice.
The judge is going to look at your divorce case. The judge is going to say, you were supporting all 3 of these kids on your income alone? Well, let's keep that going. And you were supporting your wife for 11 years, paying for all of her bills? Let's keep that going. You got your kids and your wife accustomed to a certain lifestyle, that nice house up in Buckhead? Oh yeah, let's keep that going. You see, these judges want the status quo. They want stability. They want tradition. If you want to play Santa Claus during your marriage and support all of these people, then you better have a really big sleigh when your wife files for divorce.
That's why I like the lead attorney. He said you better have a big sleigh. Okay, let's get back into it.
Now, here's the question. Is this focus on tradition unfair? Well, yes, obviously. And no, the focus on the general tradition is completely unfair. It's based on what society usually does. Society says that usually women are the caretakers of the children. So if a judge focuses on that, then guess who's going to get primary custody, regardless of how good a father you are? And society says that usually men are the breadwinners. So guess who's going to get ordered to pay alimony? But there's an aspect that's fair as well. Listen, we are real men over here, and we own up to our actions. We hold our
facts. Let's jump ahead to the child custody part. So there's one thing that these laws that he's talking about, this tradition, it comes from a time where women couldn't work back in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, etc. But now these women are in the workforce, and they're still kind of getting the family court is still trying to push these traditional outcomes at the expense of men, and it's just not right. And I understand that fairness is a very subjective term, and I rarely expect things to be fair. I don't have this universal expectation of fairness that a lot of people have, but in the case of fairness under the law, that's different, because that should be tangibly fair, and it's not fair. And that's why men need to understand that your interests are not being considered here. So it isn't fair. So let's jump ahead to the child custody part and let's get into it.
I get men who come into my office all the time and their wives have been cheating on them. So now, as punishment, these fathers want custody of the kids. Now, I practice in Atlanta, and that general tradition that women get custody works very hard against men. It's completely unfair. Every now and then, though, you will get a case of a father who can make a claim for at least 50-50 custody. So when a man comes to me and says,
Now, he said every now and then you see a father get 50-50. He didn't say every now and then you see a father get full custody. No, he said that 50-50 is rare. That's crazy. That 50-50 custody, which I believe that's how it should be automatically, that both parents should have 50-50 custody from the jump. But he's saying that that's a rare occurrence that 50-50 custody is automatically awarded. And a lot of people don't know this. The game's rigged, gentlemen. It's rigged. Let's get back into it.
Says he wants custody, I evaluate his chances of winning. In my head, I want to know what the specific tradition has been. What has the tradition been in his home? I ask him, well, who wakes up at night to feed the babies when they're crying? And they say, well, she does because I have to work. And then I ask, well, who puts the kids on the bus for school every morning? Well, she does because I have to work. And who takes the children to the doctor's appointments and all the things like that? Well, she does because I have to work. Do you see? The tradition is that she takes care of the kids and that you work. So, what do you think the judge is going to order in your divorce? That she takes care of the kids and that you, that's right, you work.
You work.
Men, look at your relationship right now. Look at your marriage and ask yourself, what tradition have I allowed to be created in my home? If you are engaged, look ahead, look down the road. What are the dynamics of your relationship?
Absolute facts. And this is what these intangibles that a lot of men don't really think about when they're entering into relationships. So they kind of, let's just say that you get hit with divorce papers. So you go into court just thinking that this judge is going to be fair and impartial because, the scales of justice and justice is blind. But what you don't understand is this concept of tradition that he's talking about where you already have one foot in the grave before you even go in the courtroom. So you have to consider this, what he's saying, because it's one of those things that it's how is a regular person supposed to know this? There's not any TV programs or any classes or any type of educational content that any men can get in any other way other than the internet that describes this. So props to the lead attorney. Watch a little bit more and then I'll bring this to a close.
And listen, the focus on tradition doesn't just operate against men. Well, the general tradition does, but not the specific, not the tradition that is formed in your household. I represent women right now, today, that when their divorce case finalizes, they will have to pay alimony to their husband. Now, you don't know the facts of these cases, but what do you suppose the tradition has been? There are women businessmen, women pilots, women soldiers. There are women whose jobs preclude them from getting custody of their kids because they travel so much. What do you think has been the tradition in their household? These women are going to have to pay child support to the father. By choosing that employment, those women set the tradition that they're going to have to deal with later on down the road. I was on Reddit the other day and
so let's just close it here, but I think that the interesting thing that he brought up in the end was that there's women who are paying child support and alimony too, and that is correct. I'm going to react to an article this week about the increased amounts of women that are paying child support and are paying alimony. And from what I've seen with my friends group, there's a lot of women that are professional women and they make money and they're professional and they can't meet a guy that's financially on their level. So they'll date a guy that's has a kind of important title. Like he might be a professor at a college, like a junior college or a college, or he might be a teacher, which is rare, but he might have some type of title that sounds good, but the money isn't good. So let's just say that a woman is VP of acquisitions and mergers for some bank in DC, and she's making $300,000, and then her husband's, a professor of archaeology at some college and makes $70,000. Well, if they get divorced, she's paying him alimony, and women can't believe it. It's obviously not the majority by any means, but there's enough out there where it's becoming an issue with women where they're suffering from all the same family court drama and BS that men are, because it's a new day and age. So I'm going to close this video out. This is just an intro to the lead attorney. Please go and subscribe to his channel. If you're going through any type of family court stuff, please drop a comment below. Or if you have a story, drop a comment below. Because like I said, I've never been through it. I know people who have, but it'd be interesting to hear your stories and hear your perspectives. So everyone, please like and subscribe. And AJ, I'm out of here.